The round began underwater at the Glenelg Oval. The ground was waterlogged before the game even began and the rain never stopped. Conditions were less than ideal to say the least, but Adam Blakely's Tigers made the best of a tough night. Down to his last 21 players due to state and college football, Blakely had to dig deep to ensure that South's recent run of good form was halted in round 9. It was. After wins over Norwood and the Dogs, the Panthers were kept scoreless in the third quarter, and that's when Jack Whaley came alive. From the Brighton Football Club, where his dad Paul coaches, Jack's job was to stand up in awful conditions and kick goals. He did. 4 goals from just 9 kicks for the under-17. Making the move from the East Gambia Football Club was Jake Harrop. It might not sound huge, but 14 clearances in these conditions is worth a mention. No goals for Jake, but his 23 possessions was the highest for his team. The highest possession count was from Tom Starkey, who returned from a run with the reserves. A Torrens Valley overager, Tom went one better than Luke, securing his name on the score sheet with a nice goal in the third quarter. Add 7 clearances to his stats and it all adds up to his best game for the year. And rounding out the best players for Glenelg was young Hamish Gordon. From Millicent, Hamish has relocated to Adelaide for a couple of weeks to see how things go at the Bay. With clean ball handling skills like this, Hamish might just have to extend his stay. He's just got to keep that free kick count down. He cost his coach 6 free kicks, maybe just a little too much enthusiasm. Tony Bamford's Panthers can't complain. Coming off 2 wins, they've dragged themselves off the bottom of the under-18 ladder and into second to last place. Best for South was Mitchell Tate from the Ranella Football Club. Mitchell's 49 hitouts should have kept the Panthers in the game, but unfortunately the Tigers' clearance count was nearly double theirs. It's what you do with the ball once you've won it that counts. Alex Nicholson was counted among South's best for the first time. His 10 kicks helped his team take the ball inside Glenelg's 50-metre zone twice, but they needed a few more than that. South did win the final term, but all anybody wanted to do by then was to have a hot shower. In the end, in the rain, it was Glenelg by 49 points. On Saturday morning, the Redlegs might have expected a bog at the Unley Oval, but on the contrary, the ground was in excellent condition despite receiving nearly 40 millimetres of rain in 24 hours. Norwood welcomed 3 under-16s into the team this week. Matt Nunn from the Paynham Norwood Union kicked a goal in the first quarter. Aaron Stewart from the Modbury Football Club had 15 disposals, and his teammate at Modbury, Harry Cross, was listed among the best on the ground for his 7 kicks and 3 handballs. And leading them all by example was 17-year-old Josh Buttery from the Golden Grove Football Club. Josh played on ball on Saturday. His close tackling and body pressure won him his first best on-ground tag for the year. The award for the most committed player for round 9 went to Tom Clayton. An overager from the Broadview Football Club, Tom struggled through the pre-season with one injury after another, but he's worked hard to get back into shape and it paid off for him with 4 goals from 14 kicks. 17-year-old Blake Penny from Tea Tree Gully once again dominated the ruck with 49 hitouts, but his team didn't make the most of it, with the clearance numbers not quite as impressive as the hitouts. On the wing, Sam Williams is making the most of his transfer from the Tigers earlier this year. A natural left footer, Sam is feeling right at home with the Redlegs, even grabbing a goal in the third quarter. The problem with the Double Blues was they didn't use the ball well. They had the same amount of time with the ball and even a similar number of scoring shots, but they turned over the ball far too easily. One player who wasn't turning over the ball was Jared Dooney, once again a bit of a one-man band. Jared spent a good deal of time in the ruck for his 13 hitouts, but got most satisfaction from getting his name on the scoring sheet twice. Everyone else struggled. Josh Hone was the leading on-baller. The small forward roved his way into the best players, but he, like many of his teammates, struggled to keep the Redlegs away from goal. Lewis Clem, previously from the Marriotteville High School, should know all about Norwood's movement inside Sturt's 50-metre zone. The top ager is back from a knee reconstruction and now studying human movement at uni. And Norwood's movement up front was certainly worth studying. It was fluent and effective. The Redlegs by 15 points. At the Woodville Oval, there are 11 goals kicked and the Dogs kicked most of them, but despite kicking the last goal of the game, it was the weather that would win in the end. Oh, and the Eagles, of course. Shane Grimm's Eagles were 19 players down for this game, state and college football taking more than their fair share, but with Centrals not affected to the same extent, they were in with a chance. And at three-quarter time, scores were level, the Eagles having switched off, perhaps underestimating their opponents. Paul Ventura wasn't taking any chances though. He followed his coach's instructions to the letter. From the Seaton Ramblers, he won half a dozen clearances, got the ball forward 7 times and critically kept his forwards working hard. After half-time, the heavens opened and the conditions suited Clare's Daniel Minnie perfectly. The under-17 player is small, built like a rock and fast. He put his body on the line and even after injuring his shoulder, he pushed on, rewarded with a goal in the second quarter. One of the forwards working hard, coming back from 3 weeks in the reserves, was Tasman Fitzgerald. Tasman has obviously benefited from his time in the seniors because his leadership was on show even when he moved into the ruck in the final quarter. He had the honour of kicking the Eagles' winning goal and sparing his coach from being the first in 2013 to lose to the Bulldogs. Playing to the conditions was Joel Foster from the Kapunda Football Club. He played smart, calculated football and was especially good around the stoppages with a game-high 9 clearances against his name. And when Dylan Ball pulled out of the match on Saturday morning, Lockie Franz was asked to fill his spot. Well, if he didn't like playing fullback, he shouldn't have done so well there. He's never played it before, and after this performance, he might be asked to play it every week. The Dogs have now lost 6 players in the last month, all fed up of being beaten every week. 2 of them pulled out even after selection on Thursday, so it was left to yet another Kapunda player to fill the void. Connor McLean did his best at half-back, and he did an outstanding job with 3 rebound 50s in what could only be described as awful conditions. With 10 first-year players on the ground, it was always going to be difficult for the Dogs, but Coach Matthew Krieg's boys came close, very close to their first win in 2013. The Eagles lucky to get away with it with a 3-point win. Avoiding the rain by playing on Sunday, smart move, the North Adelaide Football Club came to Richmond Oval as the only unbeaten side in the under-18 competition, with the Eagles having won the day before a loss would cost them top spot on the ladder. Jared Mears' Bloods didn't care about that, they just wanted to win. Westies have had too many close calls, going down by 2 goals or less for the previous 3 rounds. Swords were drawn. For West, Michael Manuzzo from the Blackwood Football Club was dominant with 37 possessions, but he didn't make the best players list, such was the strength of his team. It was one of West's 5 basketballers that won the best on-ground moniker. Brett Turner from the Flagstaff Hill Football Club was the stopgap that the Bloods needed. A member of last year's under-16 state squad, Brett brought the ball out of West's defensive 50 8 times. He would make his coach proud with an extraordinary performance. One of North's best chances came from Liam Jacker, and it was top-ager Jai De Silva who was given the job of shutting him down. Jai sacrificed his own game to make sure Jacker was kept under wraps. The former Westminster student is in Westie's program full-time now, and he's already shown that he knows how to play for the team. Missing out on selection for the under-18 state match in Sydney, the 2 Ryans were back with the Bloods. Ryan Dykesman and Ryan Simister, no relation to Scott, were both brilliant. Simister's 51 hit-outs were really where the game was won. Tim Weatherall's Roosters suffered from poor execution, but there were some standouts. Back from the reserves was Matt Nye, the captain. He's a Christian Brothers college footballer, but they release him to play for North just as well. His hard work out of half-back set up most of North's play. Back from premiership success with the under-16s was Blake Marshall. In just his second game at under-18 level, Blake attacked the ball from the back pocket, determined to win every contest. And in this year's state under-16 squad is Sam Chapina. He's part of the under-16 trial this weekend. His work on the wing at Richmond was first-rate. The result was a far cry from North's 90-point victory back in round 3. But back in round 3, college and state football was still to come. It's here now, and West handled it best, winners by 15 points.